All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen. Definitely always happy and grateful for you being here with me as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in this Forex market. So let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes. Let's make sure that we continue to participate and engage. After all, that is how we learn. So if everybody can hear me loud and clear, drop me a big number one in the chat and we can get this session started. But need appreciate it. All right. Good morning, everybody. We all ready to go. All right. So let's dive right in. Got some things to cover, especially fundamentally, with what's going on out here in the market. So let's take a look at Tuesday, the 15th. We know what happened with the GDP and the claim account number that came out. Talked about that yesterday. Missed target, but we know the earnings were up for the pound, which that just heightens the prospects of the rate hike coming from the Bank of England here soon. Then we come into yesterday, Canadian CPI came through at 0.6. So it accelerated again, the overall CPI, but the core, there still was some progress made there. So right now, the Bank of Canada is kind of, they're not really with the overall getting ahead of this thing. So we'll see if they're going to continue to hike rates there. We know there were a couple of times where they actually paused rates to get a read um, on the lagging effects of the rate hikes that they had done in the past, but came through, right? So 0.3 was expected. Overall, CPI came in at 0.6, but again, right, kind of held steady at 3.6 on the core. So we'll see what the Bank of Canada does moving forward in regards to their inflationary challenges. And with the United States here, the core retail sales rate came through right at 1%. It was expected 0.4%. So when you exclude like cars and gas, 1% is pretty strong in retail sales. So you saw an initial rally, but the Empire State Manufacturing Index came through and negative 19. It was expected pretty much negative 1, negative 0.9, but it came through a negative 19. So you saw things kind of flip kind of quick in the market yesterday because that just heightens concerns. When you have weakness in the manufacturing sector, you start to get concerned about the overall growth and a possible slowdown in the economy. Then on top of that, you start to think ahead to like the next CPI data reads for the United States. You know, if inflation isn't continuing to come down, or if it gets a little stagnant where it is, then investors start to think of the possibility of the Fed hiking rates with an economy that's slowing down, right? So that causes concern in regards to growth. So you saw when you look at the markets yesterday, you saw kind of a downturn. When you look at the stock market, things like that. And that was the main reason. Plus, you had China, right? Second largest economy. Okay. We say that that's very important. They cut rates, right? So they cut their interest rates. They're trying to get things stimulated, but that just shows further that they're continuing to have concerns over overall health of their economy. So that's very concerning to a lot of people. So we'll continue to track it, but that's what happened yesterday. The dollar initially rallied, but then you saw a little bit of a pause, slight downturn, a little bit in the markets because of that Empire State Manufacturing Index data that came out, right? Negative 19. That's a miss, big time. So we'll continue to watch that. Also, hold on one second. Good morning, everybody. Let me make sure you have control over your microphones. There. Right. And with New Zealand, with New Zealand yesterday, they held rates. Okay, so they didn't raise rates; they held rates at 5.5%. And the Bank of New Zealand said that the 5.5% is at its peak. Is at its peak. So they look to hold it there for a while. Now, some economists think that there might be a possibility of another rate hike for New Zealand, but not to the end of the year, right? So they decided to hold rates at 5.5%. So they expect to make progress on inflation there. I believe they are at New Zealand, are they 6%? New Zealand, hold on one second. Let me try to. New Zealand, yeah, New Zealand's inflation is at 6%. So they're saying they're at peak rate, they're at peak interest rate at 5.5%. They should start to see some progress from there. So they're looking to hold rates at a restricted level at 5.5%. Now, that's when you look at the contrast, they're at 6%. The United States is at 3.2%, call it 3%, and they're still looking at the possibility of raising rates another 25 basis points, maybe not in September, but maybe in November, right? So you have a little bit of a contrast there. So you got a pause in New Zealand on rate hikes. You got issues with New Zealand with their partner, heavily with China. So we could continue to see continued weakness from New Zealand as a result. So when we're looking at those pairs, we continue to see the downtrend in the New Zealand dollar. Okay. Coming into this morning, CPI came through overall year over year at 6.8%. Okay. And the core came through at 6.9% for the UK. Right. So we saw a little bit of a pop in the pound as a result. So if we go to the front page of Trading Economics, we see that the UK inflation rate came in at a 29-month low, but the core rate stayed at 6.9%. Okay, so you look at that core rate, excluding food and energy, the core is still at 6.9%. We did see the energy costs continue to ease, but that core is really, really what's important, and it's staying at 6.9%. So that just builds the case further for at least a 25 basis point hike coming out of the UK at their next meeting. But it does give them a little flexibility as to with the overall coming down to its lowest since February 2022, 7.9% as we read here in the article. So it does give them a little flexibility in regards to how aggressive they have to be. So where there was some slight speculation upon 50 basis points, we're most likely just going to see 25 basis point hikes from here on out with the UK as they continue to battle their inflation challenges. So that's that. And that's it on the fundamental front. Take a look at the US 10-year and bond yields starting to come down a little bit. So we can see they peaked. What was that? 4.27, and now it's down to 4.17. So we'll continue to watch the DXY as the markets open today to see if we start to get a little bit of a correction in the dollar. Right now, it's just kind of moving sideways here in the neutral position as we're sitting here in the pre-New York session. So we'll continue to watch that DXY. So that's 2 days, right, where we've been indecisive. So we'll watch that. Still holding above that weekly support level. It's gonna be interesting to see how that dollar decides to do. Any questions fundamentally?
Hey Benny, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
It's going well. I have a question about the DXY. So I know we've been tracking it, and recently we were talking about consumer sentiment and how you said that I don't know what indicator it is, but you were talking about how there was a tracking of consumers like going into their savings or using credit.
Oh, yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that have any correlation to the manufacturing index that we see this week? Like, does the
Uh,
consumer sentiment play into
look,
the?
it can, it can, but just in regards to the overall economy slowing down, but retail sales in this point, the retail sales was still up.
Okay.
So when you look at that number, when you look at it from that retail sales side, like no, but can it? Yes, right. Um, if consumers are going into because that you just track it, right? Consumers start to go into their savings. Yes, July numbers, right? That's a lagging effect, right? It's lag. So when we're looking at retail sales yesterday, that's from July, right? So we know consumers are starting to go more into their savings, use credit in the savings. Um, so they track that because eventually that gives you telltale signs that the wallets might start to tighten.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So while retail sales is up now, they continue to gauge those data points because it could lead. It gives you, signs that at some point consumer spending may start to slow. The manufacturing right now is the concern companies, right? Looking at so if you look at the let's go back to it real quick. That's a really good question. So if you go and and what it is and how they come up with that. It's a survey of 200 manufacturers in New York State, which asks respondents to rate the relative level of general business condition, right? So it's the leading indicator of economic health. Businesses react quickly to market conditions and changes in their sentiment can be an early signal of future economic activity such as spending, hiring, investment. So you see here with the spending, right?
Yeah.
Companies starting to look further ahead, looking at the data and saying, things may start to be slowing down a little bit, right? Some things may be on the horizon, so they operate with caution, so may not be so apt to hire, right? Because companies like to expand, like to grow, like to reinvest, and when you're expanding as a company, that leads to more positions, right? Hiring. But they tend to tighten the tighten the budget a bit when you've got concerns uh, with the economy possibly slowing. So eventually, yes, it plays a part, but the retail sales number is still up for July. So the key is going to be moving into the later half of the year, what that looks like for retail sales. So it was surprising. That was a surprising number. It was expected. You see, core retail sales was expected at 0.4. It came in at 0.1. I mean, they came in at 1%. So that was a surprising number yesterday because people are starting to speculate and think that sales numbers are going to start to decline and people are going to stop spending as much. But it was to the contrary yesterday. So we'll see. A little bit of a mixed data situation. This is what I'll say. Yep. Any other questions? You're welcome. No other questions. Okay. Uh, what do we want to look at today? I got my set that I want to take a look at and give you guys the floor first in regards to any pairs that you want to take a look at right out the gate. I know usually I do it towards the end, but give you guys first opportunity today. Euro USD. Okay. PLRT stock. Yep, I marked that one right up here, Kill. I didn't have a chance to do it yesterday. Pound Aussie. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this Euro USD. And So let's look at the daily, right? We know the euro, right, is trending pretty strong for the most part. Then we got this huge correction and the rise of the dollar. So we're right here at this 109 level, 109.13. Okay. So this is going to come down to, the euro's holding pretty steady. The dollar has been strong, but this is where we are, right? So I can get this trend line out of here because it went back sideways. So I'm just not leaving it like that. Okay. So right now we're just holding, right? We're just moving sideways. Not too much there right now. We're still holding within our AB boundary. Okay. If we start to see a decline in the dollar, we could see this price push up. But we've continued to challenge that 110 level and fail. And we're just sitting here at 109. So this is, if there's any example of a pair doing nothing, this is it. So it's just sitting there, right? This is all gonna come down to the dollar. You've got, let me see, there was looking at, nope, I don't know where it was. I had to find it. There was some positive data coming out of the Eurozone, but it's not moving. It's not moving anything right now against this dollar because the dollar has been strong, and we know the DXY is sitting at a high right now, and it's kind of neutral. So it's moving sideways, the DXY, and this pair is moving sideways too. We got a little bit of movement to the downside, but there's really nothing. You just move on, take a look at some other pairs until this makes its mind up. Right? It's just stalling at that level. It did it here too last time. If you look left, right, at this 109 level is key. So that's that on the Euro USD. Any questions on that? Was there a specific question on the
Good morning.
morning?
I didn't have a specific question, just wanted to see if your analysis was aligning with mine.
With yours? You got pretty much the same thing?
Yes, except I'm still bearish more than I am that it's going to remain neutral.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I could buy it either way. I could buy it either way. I mean, I've been out of that 80-20 for a while, to the downside, right? It came through 2 take profit levels. That was the original move, moving down out of that 80-20 zone. But it's just moving sideways right now, right? It's neutral. So that's a coin flip, right? And even if I've got it drawn up as this is the current trade I did, but even if the dollar shows some a decline, you still have to get through that 110 level, right? Where it's been struggling for this idea to play out, and for price to move, to that 111.94 on that 1 hour C to D push. So it's got some challenges ahead, but right now it's just range. Right? It's just going back and forth. But I can definitely buy the neutral position. I mean the bearish position for sure. Yep, I like that. You. You're welcome. You're welcome. Reset's coming for that. Hey, if we, hey, if you see a huge break lower, right? For sure, that's when I'll know that trade idea is blown up. then I'll be looking for the next setup on that. But I mean, it's still, it's just in a tough position right now at that level when you look at the daily, right? Because you still have where price, here's a higher low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low, right? From a daily perspective. And now you're sitting at another potential higher low, but it's just kind of moving sideways as you move down through the lower time frame. So we'll see on that. That's a tough nut to crack right now, Euro USD. So we'll just be patient. At some point, things will get going again, right? Things will get going again. So good stuff. But it might Jeremy, you holding that long position Okay. Okay. We'll see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. We've it's the 16th. Next rate decision for the US isn't until September. I'm gonna have to check and look to see when the next CPI. I see the daily and weekly at the bottom. I pull down from there. Maybe, right? May come down and test that level. Yep. When in doubt, stay out. Okay. That's that. So let's look at Euro USD. I'm gonna run through these currencies real quick, Carolyn, then we're gonna do that PLRT. Because I just didn't have time to mark it up last night. We'll do it together. The pound Aussie. Let's take a look at it because we saw it move up. I got stopped out of my 1 hour position. This thing is gone, right? It's just running. New AB boundary, hit the D extension, just flew straight up, right? So I got stopped out of that position. But on the 4, right, it's pushed up right into a zone. Right. And I posted that in the Discord last night talking about it. So this is strictly, is there going to be some profit taken to push price, lower for a better buy opportunity? Because right now, right, it's just making higher highs and higher lows. So this is a matter of, does the momentum slow on this? Definitely need additional confirmation, right, to take. All right. So you can get me once on that 1 hour. You can fool me once. But I was able to identify that it pushed up to the 80-20 zone on the 4. But this, because if this moves down, whatever might occur, then you need, right? You have time because that's huge, right? If that was to move down, okay, that would be a big move. But since that is a big move, you definitely have time to wait to see if some lower lows and lower highs come into play. Right. So I posted it last night just so everybody can put it on their radar. At some point, the momentum slows. It just does. That's how the market moves, regardless of the strength of the currencies. Right. There's always something, fundamental catalyst, right, that can occur to drive that price back down. But right now, that's just pushing along, especially off of the UK data today. Again, right, how that came through at the CPI came through at 6.8. So even though it's slowed, overall their core is still holding at 6.9 or whatnot. So that just it places more bets on the fact that they're going to raise rates by 25 basis points. That's being priced in right now, and then of course, when we get to those rate hike decisions, it's always about the rhetoric. What comes after. So that's being priced in now. As you see how strong it's running, the prospects of 25 basis points coming from the BOE. So we'll just have to continue to watch this one. But just know, hey, it's getting up there pretty high. But this is not one. When you get markets running like this, when you have an Aussie dollar that's weak, when you have China that's showing weakness, right, and they're closely related with Australia, of course, in regards to trading and being partners, you just wait, right? You just wait. It's not my zone to buy, right? It's not my zone to buy. There are traders out there, depending on your trade plan, that will continue to look for breaks and retests and they continue to move, right? They're not using the fibs. They're not using that methodology. They're looking strictly for breaks and retests. So I could take this out now because that's that weekly D extension that was hit. So the price chased it and hit the D extension on the weekly. So we'll look at that real fast and come right back. So you come here, look, it blazed right through it, through that D extension. So from a weekly perspective, our fib played out. Okay, it was just a matter of whether or not when we were discussing it, a week or so ago, whether or not we're going to see a correction back to the downside before price continued its rally towards that D extension. So it hit it. All right. So the crown played out on the weekly at 100%. That's beautiful, right? So for those long position type traders, that 172.27 monthly level, monthly level, look how it just accelerated off that level and continued. Right? So that was spot on. But we're through these levels now. We're definitely overbought. It's just, hey, when is that momentum gonna slow? Right? And we see some private taking. You can see here, this is the daily. That D extension is at $2 even. Nice round number, psychological number. Price is clearly chasing that level. All right, so let me how to pull that down. So you see it. So there's no doubt our direction is right overall. We know we're bullish on the pound Aussie. It's just, is it gonna correct? Even if you want to buy, right? I need a correction to happen. Right? Everybody follow me on that. Drop me into one in the chat. All right. I need some sort of a correction. I look for bigger corrections, but we'll go back down to the lower time frames, and I'll show you some other things. So let's have $2. Okay. Right. So you see where we are. All right, so that's the show you guys. Okay. So we see clearly what's happening, right? We've got, when you just look at this leg, that's moving up. Okay. Yeah, so I thought. So clearly broken the B boundary. We're in the 118, 127 zone. So the way some traders would look at this and play this, right, just using price action structure, is they're clearly going to look. So if their next move that they're looking for is just a retest of this level. Right? Somewhere down in this zone, right? So maybe, right, I like to use lines just to keep the charts clean. But right, some would draw it up like that. Okay. Some people use from wick to body of the candle. Right? And in a move like this, they're looking for price to pull back. Okay. Price to pull back in the zone, and then if it holds, okay, then you're looking for a trend line break like so. Okay. Because it's the market's moving in waves, right? Higher highs and higher lows. So if we get a retest of that level and it holds and it shows some momentum back to the upside, right? Then they would take a shot, place their stop below, right, the lower support. Okay. Okay. So below the lower support like that. And then they would take a shot long, right? Possibly back to, at this point, right, wherever this slows down and creates a high, right? We know what constitutes a swing high. So if this was to swing high, that would be another level of what? Resistance. Okay. So then you come into a situation where if you're looking for smaller moves, hey, I take it back to 197.46, and then I look for a break and a retest there. Okay. You always have the ability to do that. We just say make it a part of your trade plan. Right? The reason why we stick within this main structure when we post things is because if we start to put all different types of variables, it can become very confusing, especially for new traders. Right? So we stay within that basic framework. Now, as you evolve as a trader, right, and you develop a good eye for the price action, then the door's wide open for these type of moves, right? And that's totally up to you and your trade. But we always post things, right, in just a basic structural sense, so everybody's clear on what we're looking at overall for the currency. Any questions on that? Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, no? Let me know what you guys are thinking. So we know, right? We know that it's in our zone, right? But we also know there's no technical, structure that'll ever stand in the way of strong fundamental occurrences. And it's just like how we get with those yen crosses sometimes. Sometimes they just run, right? When investors are making a run on the yen, none of these structures will hold up. Like it just keeps running to extensions, keeps running to extensions. So fundamentally, if you recognize that as a trader, as you continue to evolve and you get super good at this thing, right? Then you make those decisions on whether or not you want to try to play those opportunities, right? This could be played on a lower time frame, right? That level can be brought down to a 1 hour, a 15-minute chart, right? This 4-hour level, you can pull all of this down and just play it from there, right? So the lower the time frame, the more granular you get. So you could do that, right? Because in essence, you're looking at the same thing. The market is fractal, so you can come down to your time frame and follow that, right? So I can get that out because that's that weekly D extension. That's it. This is done now. Okay. Right. So this is where we are. So you're looking at the same thing. Okay. If that holds, do we come back to retest our zone? Same stuff. Okay. We're not scared of these charts. They move 3 ways. All right. So that's that on the pound Aussie. So just a couple different getting that eye, Carolyn. Good. Right. Hang in there. We told you hang in there, you'll get it. Stay committed. All right. So we know overall we've been bullish. What these extensions, especially higher time frames, represents that, hey man, we can be getting close to exhaustion at some point, and we can see a correction. It's not to say that it's going to move bearish forever. It's going to be a complete trend reversal. It's exhausting. Maybe there's some profit taking before we continue along our upward path. So that's the pound Aussie. What else do we have? J, T, $8, D, US 30, Zealand. Okay. All right. So let's look at the UJ. We're starting to get to some high levels. We know we get up around that 150 area. We know the Bank of Japan in the past has stepped in, intervened, right, to cause a price correction. We are just still moving along. These are notes that I have. So we are still moving along. So we're at 145. that daily 148 level, right? So just continue to manage this trade. It's been a big one, right? And this is what we mean by you're going to take some L's in this game. You are, right? But with proper risk management, if I'm risking 1%, I lose 1%. But while you're getting hit on those, look at the gains your other positions are making, right? Out of that zone, that's up over 750 pips already. Think about that. Right? So you'll still be eventually, right? Once you start holding your positions, you'll still be at a net gain. That's why risk to reward is important, right? But if you're up here and if you have taken profit at, you know, 50, 60 pips because you see everything in the blue, and then you come to your pound Aussie, like I got blown up on my on my 1 hour play for like 130 pips or whatnot, then you know, then you're gonna be net negative, right? And some people might have not have played. I left that stop wide on that pound Aussie once I got involved with it. Some people use tighter stops, put it just above the high, so you don't have to lose 130 pips. That's just I let trade swing, but and it didn't go in my favor. But this here, right, is moving, right? So that's the UJ, right? We're moving bullish. Where are we at? I'm just using a 4 hour. I mean the main fib here running brought it down, and I'm just tracking. So if we run it off the C low, you can see where we are. Okay, on the UJ like that. Right. So possibly, right? But our stochastic here is in the buy zone, so we're still pushing long overall, right? We're still making higher highs and higher lows on the UJ. So at this point, still in the GA. Yeah, there you go, Joy. There you go. Right. So overall, that GA was long. Is hey, do I take a stab at this correction? Right. Joy is already sitting long, has been sitting long in that GA. So yeah, she's good. That's how it goes, right? And that's awesome. Congrats on that. Congrats on that. Super proud of you, Joy. So this is where we are. So if you're looking to get involved, right? So if we look at the daily, we've got that tag for 1380 all the way up to 150. Right? 148 is going to be a key level, 84, 148, 84. So what you're looking for now on this is we need a correction on the UJ. Overall, we're long, right? Okay. You guys, I know you guys know, right? It's how important and how easier it makes your life as a trader when you try to develop an overall bias for the market using a combination of fundamentals and technicals, right? That's a huge advantage. Okay. So, and then just understanding that the market moves in waves. Carolyn played to the 32 and then continue long. You could, depends on where you're looking at for that fib. Of course, you can have an 80-20 setup, but this one is pushing so strong. If you get a correction, I would just wait, right, to see on this to get a correction, and then get back long. That's just how I'm feeling with these gem pairs. If you see a correction here in the near term, it's because the DXY is reaching some highs, and we're getting some relief from the dollar, right? But then I definitely expect it to continue to push long. Right? I'm just wondering when we haven't gotten any signals from the Bank of Japan in regards to, a lot of times they'll threaten, hey, we'll have to if currencies continue to appreciate at an accelerated pace against the yen, we may have to step in. And then sometimes just on the rhetoric, you'll see a correction in the market, but we haven't seen that yet. I'll do some reading today to see if I'm missing anything, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But long UJ, we need a correction and a continuation to continue to push towards that that TP level 150, 190. Okay, the first stop is that 148.84. Any questions on the UJ? Now, if we were trading, you know, if we were, and I would love to do it, like I said, just don't, my lifestyle just really doesn't allow me to anymore. Hopefully that'll change soon. But now, if we were trading lower time frames, more in that day trading mode, right? There would be setups coming all the time, right? But that's also, you work on a computer all day. It depends on the day for me. Depends on the day for me, whether I'm out doing speeches or presenting or doing, you know, stuff, different things. But sometimes I have days when I'm at my computer all day. But it your lower time frames is more transactions, more exposure to the market. You know, you have to realize that if you get involved. Whereas here, where you're swing trading, it's like all those transactions are kind of occurring within the swing anyway. So I don't know, you guys will discover what type of traders, you know, you want to be, but I like it, just getting into positions and then eventually just adding to the position. You know, for example, in this case, if I get a new low price, right, gives me the opportunity to potentially add to a position. Or if you've just been playing smaller waves, getting in and out, a new low price will give you an opportunity to get back in. So just some things to think about, right? Because at the end of the day, it's been moving long, regardless of, you know, what time frame you're trading on. All right, that's the UJ. Quick look at the Aussie dollar. Should be sitting at some low levels. Right, so we're definitely moving bearish. That double top seems ages ago now, right, everybody? Oh man, that's been a big move. Sitting at support 64.53. Okay, 64.53, definitely oversold. Right, definitely look for a continued move bearish, but it just twin towers. That's exactly like that was so clear. That was clear. So if you all always hear about double tops and double bottoms, like you don't get any better than this. Right? If you didn't have a fib to first on here, and you just play support and resistance, you got a double top right there at a weekly resistance level. That's just clean, right? So you write that one. That's one that you take a snapshot of, journal it, so you know, right? But we're moving bearish now. For this play here, this 80-20 play to play out here, we've got to get relief off that dollar. Right? We'll see if yields continue to move down. Okay. And we see some weakness, right? Some temporary weakness in the dollar, at least. Now we've gotten back above this level here. So you have a low on this setup. Okay. You have a low. 1 hour, your stochastic is in the sell zone. Okay. So nothing doing yet. But if you get price to U-turn out of this zone, okay, and we're dealing with the dollar. So we definitely want to use additional confirmation. Okay. So you're technically, yes, you're in the 80-20 zone. Look how it's just moving sideways. Okay. We know that the Australian dollar is not the strongest currency in the bag. We know that. We know it's been bearish, right? But if we get some relief off that dollar, okay, don't know when, right? But we could see a move. But that's a stretch right now. because of how strong the dollar has been and how weak the Aussie is. So we want to be careful playing that. All right, so that's where we are. If we want to get short to that daily D extension, I need a high price. I would prefer to have a high price like we had back here, right? How that played out. Get those entry marks out. Like we had a high price here. That's what we, at least that's what I want to see. Do traders, kind of similar to when we were talking about the pound situation, do we have traders who will look for a break at that 64.53 level and look for a retest like that? And then play it to the downside? Of course. Okay. Okay. I'm not so rigid in my methodology that I don't recognize those potential opportunities. Right? If I didn't have a fib on here, right, and I was just using just price action, structure, support, and resistance, I'm sitting at a key level. See? Okay. So, this out. Here, you've got a low here. This is on the Y. Okay. See? Okay. Okay. So maybe we're breaking a retest here. Okay. Or you may say, I want to see it clear that low that was established. Okay. So then we look here with that price action. Right? Somewhere at that point, right? If you go with the body, okay, it would be like this. Somewhere in that. Then a continuation. And one way to skin a cat, right? Because our sequence is telling us our overall directional bias, our sequence, our daily fib is telling us further downside pressure in this pair. It's just a matter of how it's going to get there and the rules that you play by. See what I mean? It's all on your trade plan, what you build into your trade plan. That's why it's so important. Right. All right. Questions on that? That's just basic support and resistance. Well, we good? All right. Pound NZD. Okay. And I got some time today, so we'll be good getting through these pairs. And who needed that? Was that Yasina? I believe. Yep. So bullish, right? We've got this drawn up long. Look at that. Oh, hey. This group is good. This group is good. So we're moving long. Okay. And listen, we always talk about how important fundamentals are, right? Because before you even get on the chart, the fundamentals are going to help you determine, right, that directional bias. We know the pound has reasons to be bullish. And it sounds simple and subtle, but it's so important. You'll be amazed at how many traders that don't know how to apply, right, the knowledge, the fundamental knowledge to what they're doing technically. Okay. So we're long. Like this is moving. right? This is moving to the upside. So of course, right, the way we frame things out, you're constantly being put in the same scenarios to where you have to make the same decision. Okay. The extension was hit. It's rallying. We know that the Reserve Bank of New Zealand just held rates at 5.5. No rate hikes. We know that rate hikes are positive for the currency, right? So when you look at it, that's absolutely, Carolyn. It does. It does. I agree with that 100%. We know what has happened with what's been going on. Sticky wages in the UK. Okay. Wages increase. We know the unemployment numbers have gone up a bit. But sticky wages, very important when it comes to inflation, because people spend that money. And when you're trying to battle inflation, you're trying to slow down spending a little bit. We know what just happened in regards to the data that came out today, right? Sitting right on the front page, inflation falls 29-month low, but we know we always read the details. Overall inflation came down, but the core stays steady at 6.9%. So we're expecting another rate hike. So you got the Reserve Bank of New Zealand that just paused rates, and you got the Bank of England that's most likely going to raise rates. So this should remain bullish. It's just a matter of, hey, when and where does it correct? For how long does it correct? Right? So the 4-hour chart, we've broken that B boundary. Okay. So we're above it. Now, I feel like I can get a little bit more granular with this group now. Right? We've been at this for a while, a lot of us. So the question becomes, right? We get the question, well, can I play that up to the 127? Yes. Right? I'm gonna say yes. Right? But you know what Ryan's gonna ask you? What's in your trade plan? Right? What's in your trade plan? Because we want to ensure, right, that you remain consistent, right? And that's so you can get consistent data, right? So let's see. We need this one to close out and you'll have a new fit, right? So something like that. Stochastics and the sell zone, right? But yes, are there smaller setups? There are. Joey, first 48 question. Read the fundamentals, but it didn't click, but it's getting better. Absolutely, got to stick to it, right? So that's your 4. We know we're moving bullish. Look at this, right? It's just an insane move. Okay. There we go. Here we are. That's right. So are there smaller plays? Right. Yes. The market moves in waves, right? You just have to game plan out how you want to approach the market. Okay. There's waves all over the place, right? That's a manual fib off of the low. The key is like we always say, is my direction right? Okay. Is my direction right overall? Yeah, we're moving up. Okay, we're moving up. You could drop down, play that on the lower time frames. Our whole thing is have it in your trade plan and know where you are. Know where you are. Okay. Take a 1 hour, 15-minute trend, pull back or retracement, break the cloud. I like it. I like it. That's a nice 1, 2, 3. I like that, Carolyn. Any questions on the pound New Zealand? Yacina, did you have any a specific question regarding that? Good morning, Danette.
No, I didn't have anything particular, but yesterday I know you sort of stated that it was quite a good one to go into, because I don't normally look at currencies, but I want to get into them because I've been doing stocks. So that's why I was
Okay.
One. Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's why I thought, because you sort of said it's a good one to sort of look at. So I thought, oh, let me just pick a couple and start focusing on them.
Gotcha. Yeah, your pound pairs they're big movers.
Yeah.
Right. In regards to, like their trading range is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really like trading pounds. Like when you look at the SPIP sequences, like they're huge movers and they run for quite a while. So those are ones that you can continue to like build into, build positions into. And just when they're really good in regards to fundamentals. It's like, because the central bank is major, right? Major central banks, any of those currencies, they once they get going, they tend to trend for a while. In that regard. What type of stocks do you like to trade? Any particular companies, or you like trading indices? Or
I look at oil and gold.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
I've actually sort of I've been following Tesla for a little while. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. That's good. That's good to know. I'll have to mark up the Tesla chart.
Yeah.
For sure. That's for sure. Okay. So yeah, that's the pound New Zealand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's also like Carolyn was saying, once you begin to sort of understand the fundamentals and that, it starts clicking, and you can see how it sort of correlates and makes sense. Once you begin to understand it, you can look at it and think, okay, I understand this now. I'm beginning to get it. For sure. Once you get into that place with your trading.
Absolutely. And then especially with trading stocks, like always take a peek at the S&P, because the S&P can help you, like any, the stock market in general can help you with currencies in regards to the overall sentiment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is the market risk on? Is it risk off? Once we make the determination that it's risk on, what currencies are heavily impacted, like your commodity currencies. Yeah. Right? Like your Aussie, like your New Zealand, you can look towards those and say, hey, are they gaining momentum? Are they gaining strength in a risk on situation? And then if it's risk off, which ones are my safe havens? My yen, my Swiss franc, my dollar can play as a safe haven, depending on the situation, And so it all starts to flow together and make sense, and it definitely makes your trading life a lot easier.
Yeah. But thanks a lot, Benny. It's been great.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being a member.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So that's where we are. So we're moving. JC, got your hand raised. I'm sorry, I missed that. What's up?
Hey, it's all good. I was thinking, so as we're setting up or adding setups to our trade plan, is it the case of seeking out like a strike rate for that particular setup?
Yeah. So what you want to do, and that's the reason why we tell you put in your trade plan, because you want to track and journal that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, for this example, we know that when we get a shallow retracement, less than a 382, less than 38%, and it breaks that B boundary, it can make a run, right, to the 118, 127 zone. So in essence, when you go back, right, the key is to keep it simple. So if I get a break of that B boundary, in essence, what's happening? I'm getting a break of resistance. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a resistance level. So price moves up, makes a higher high. If we come back to retest that boundary and it holds, that's like playing a break and a retest. You see? So it's like, do I want to build that in my trade plan to, hey, at least I can see if I can catch a wave up to that 118, 127 zone, right? Because we see it happens quite often, don't we?
Yeah, I do see it, especially because I struggle with the fibs and sometimes I don't like to plot them. And I see what you're saying, but I'm always scared to take them because I'm like, well, they didn't really teach me that. So I'm just going to try to figure it out. But I'm glad you are breaking it down. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So you start to, we're just hardcore on the fundamental framework, because once you get it, you got it. Then you can get creative from there. At that point, if you want to delve into, hey, for confirmation, I like moving average crossovers and all of that stuff. We just want to make sure you know where your sweet spots are in regards to using a Fibonacci sequence and these swing positions. You know, but you could test any of you can if price comes down in the zone. The key is knowing, hey, where are my sweet spot reversal zones, either to the upside or to the downside, right? So if you decide to say, you know what, I want to possibly make that retest of the B boundary a possible sweet spot for me trading. Absolutely, you can do it, right? Absolutely, you can do that.
Okay.
If trade comes down to the 382 and I have structure there, if I look left and there's strong structure, past resistance becoming future support. If I use additional confirmation and let price push up off that level, what does it look like, you know, over 50 trades if I play a sub fib off that level, off the pullback, and put my stop below that? Right? Put my stop below that A. You know, what do my numbers and my strike rate look like if I just take this setup off the 382 to that 1618 off that sub? You know, the reason why we stick with the basics in it, because if we start posting that stuff all over Discord, like it just become crazy, right? So we rather teach that basic structure, posted as that basic structure, you know, 99% of the time, and then you get creative from there, right?
Okay.
So that's why it's a trade idea and not so much a trade signal, because people see the market differently. The bottom line is, in order for somebody to buy, somebody has to be selling, and vice versa. You know, whereas, you know, I got hit on my pound Aussie, somebody took that setup buy side from that level, and they actually won that trade. Well, I got stopped out. That's just the game we play. You know what I mean? So that's why we do what we do. Combine the fundamentals and technicals and the overall, you know, just a basic framework for everybody to get used to. Because after that, you could be playing off the 61.8 levels. You could be playing waves. You know, you could be playing a support and resistance game. You could be playing the break and retest game off of the 61.8. Right? And some people do that, just go from level to level. You know, so that part, you know, like I said, we can't post all that stuff all over Discord because everybody thinks different, and, you know, and how they see it. So yeah, good stuff. So we wanted to take a look at the going straight bear and just master that. You could. We just say be consistent at it. That's the key. A lot of people never reach that point of consistency. So let's take a look at the US 30, see what's going on. All right. This is our weekly chart here. That's holding right now. Level is holding from a weekly perspective. Right? We saw the markets tail off. This cash is in a buy zone. So we're holding right now at this 34.94 level. That's from the daily. Wonder what's gonna happen there. All right. Here's this 4-hour play. We can see further downside pressure on this. So the key that I would be watching is right off that 118. Do we hold it at 34,946 level? That's daily support, or do we break? If we break, we can get more downside pressure. But you got a daily stochastic that's in the buy zone. You got a 4-hour that's in the buy zone. So this is going to be interesting, right, to see. Could get range bound. You never know. Could get range bound. But I would just say right now, we're at a key level, right? This was our play from a while ago. And, right, so we may see a deeper, we may see a deeper correction. Right? So we've already come from this 80-20 in the TP1, right? And it's amazing how technicals and fundamentals play out, right? we saw this opportunity before you started to see the downturn, right? In the market fundamental. Before you started to see the newsprints to say, oh, the such and such lost whatever today, right? Investors are concerned about China, right? The Dow lost gains. We were already at the technical level before that started. That stuff even started coming out. So it's technicals and fundamentals. Okay. Technically, I'm at this level. Fundamentally, what's going to be the catalyst to make this move occur, right? And we see this decline. So here's that level. Do we see further declines? Right. So we'll wait and see. Let's see what happens with the market open today. See what the sentiment is. But it does have the potential to push lower on the US 30, right? Definitely not quite ready to buy or anything yet on that, to go buy side. Prefer that price continue to drop to a greater discount and see what happens from there. Any questions on that? So we got that one right. We're in the up retracement zone, right? So look, buy side, right, off the break. And now we're just in a retracement zone. Okay. All right. So that's that. PLRT. Let's look this up. So let me add it. Is that, why is that not coming? Carolyn, am I putting that in right? PLRT. Is that the symbol? No. Oh, what's the you said PLRT, right? What's the name of the company? PLTR. Oh, PL. Not bad. Damn. Now I got you. All right. So let's do this layout. So PLTR, and I'm gonna do monthly. We'll put it in stock. Daily do hour, then do one. That. So let's take a look at it. Carolyn, what is this company? Tell me about it. Tell me a little bit about it. You know. So let's see. Resistance in support. We know where that's at. It's a tech company. What type of tech? What type of tech, Carolyn? What are we talking? Fill me in. I'm interested. Tech sector. What do they do? So we've got the sector. What do they? What's unique about them? Tell me about the qualities. What's going on? Just something. Maybe something you just heard about recently. We don't have a high until that closes out. Oh, just a stock event. Okay. Cool. It used to be a real low price. Used to be. So you telling me I'm too late? I see the breakout. See the breakout area. Oh, Robinhood option. Okay. All right. So let's move it on down. We'll catch that at the next level. It's on the daily. That should confirm that. So we are retesting that level here. Okay. Beautiful breakout. Been nice to catch that one. So that's where we're sitting from the daily. Right? So we've got daily support that is hovering around right around the 61.8 pullback. Okay. So we know that we need to continue to watch the sentiment here in the stock market to see. Let me look at this on the floor. So we know, right, that when things turn sour in the market, it's usually that tech sector that takes that hit first, right out the gate, off the top, right? When you talk about tightening, you know, you need a lot of capital flowing into tech, right? For the research and the development, things like that. So we'll see if this correction that's going on in the market right now, if it's just a temporary thing. We're going to continue to, the market's going to continue to be resilient, right? You see how I took that? That's a large correction, right? So we got a daily 61.8. So once you start to get down 61%, sometimes 50%, depending on the fib, right? We start to see lower time frame fibs getting taken out, right? But we know from the higher time frame that this is still overall bullish, right? So if we run that fib top just to see additional confirmation, we don't have a 382, right? We're in a 118, 127 zone. So what I would do on this 4 is what I like to do in these scenarios oftentimes when I've got good confluence here for a possible reaction at these levels, okay, I'll just take this one and bring it down. Just so I know where I am. You don't have to, that's just me. And I'm gonna link that fib down to the lower time frame. Okay. So what I wanna see price do, I wanna see price move, right? We got a consolidation, kind of in no man's land. What I wanna do is I wanna see price move down to retest that zone. Okay. We've got consolidation, so I'm just gonna take my trend line to the outside of that consolidation. Okay. I wanna see price though test this zone. So I wanna see price come down. A lot to prove. Right? We want to see if it holds that support zone. And then, right, if the market is finished correcting, we want to see it start to rally to the upside. Like this. If that's going to happen. So we got to be patient on that. And fundamentally, especially when it comes to stocks and things like that, got to do your research. Got to do your research. All right. So it's kind of like similar thing on the 1. If we know a 1 hour fib got taken. Okay. So
I think you added 2 1-hour charts.
I did. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's not on the, so let me move this one to my 4. Uh-oh. Let me just make this one a 4. Okay. So that's what the 1 hour is looking like. So maybe we do still have a fib. Appreciate that. Same scenario. Yeah, same scenario. So, right. Even on our 4, we gotta wait. It's a decent correction. So that's our chart. So we're pretty much in that same scenario. We got that deep correction off the daily. Let's get us back to this level. There. We know where the market is overall. And it all goes back to those fundamentals, right? What caused the market to sour yesterday? Well, initially, right, we saw a little bit of a rally from the retail sales coming through at 1%. Speculative, I think it was like 0.4 or something like that. But then we saw the manufacturing report come through. Right? Empire State Manufacturing came through at -19. Gave some concern to the market. So we saw a downturn. So this is where we are on PLTR. Any questions on that one? Anybody, Carolyn? Yep. Michelle, what's up?
Hi, Ben. I just had a question about, I see sometimes when we're going, we know we're gonna go bullish, but sometimes you put on the fib in a bearish way. What question are you asking yourself when you do that? What are you checking to see?
Oh, I'm looking for additional confirmation. So what'll happen is, say for example, like if I was just trading, let me go back to the 1 hour chart. If I was just trading, clear this out. So say I was just sitting on one chart, right? Because some people, they just trade one chart. That's fine, right? They do their top-down analysis, and then they just trade one chart. So what we're looking for is just using the fibs for additional confidence, right? So we run it there, and here. That's a double bottom too, right there at that level. So okay. So we say, right? If you were just on this one chart and you didn't recognize this here, okay, from the daily. So we say, right, as long as price doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go your way, right? So if this is my A boundary, like so, took out my A.
Okay.
So in that scenario, it's like, man, my A got taken out. If I'm just focused on this one chart, it's like, my goodness, my trend is over. You see that? Right? That run to the top is over. So I flip my fib.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because it's moving down.
Okay.
Right? So this is what's cool. Okay. Now follow me closely. So I flip my fib and it's moving down. And then it's like, okay, I see them coming towards this support. Oh, okay. So I'm using my fib to dress things up. I'm moving down. But you know what? I got an 80-20 here. Okay. So what happens is if you play that, so it's like, all right, we may see a reversal at this level. I get extra confirmation that we're in the 80-20 zone. Well, what I'll do is I'll mark my levels like this. And because it's an 80-20 play, I'll mark my TP1. Okay. My TP3. Okay. So with our 80-20s, we always say, hey, you could trade back safely. We like to trade back safely to the 382, at least. That's the #1 goal in the 80-20 reversal kind of trend trade. Because once you get up into these 61.8 zones, if that downtrend is going to continue, right, then we know, right, that it could turn over. Okay, turn back over. So we say, hey, we like to at least trade back to the 382.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Okay. So back to the 382. Now, what's cool, because the market likes to seek out at least 38%. That's the rule. So what's really cool is that because the market is fractal, because we're on a 1 hour as opposed to a daily, that deeper correction on that up fib on the daily pushed price down to where it took out it. But from the higher time frame, we know price is still in the correction. It's in an up retracement zone. Took our A out. But guess what? If that uptrend decides to continue, so we get a drop down, support. And that signaled us as a potential 80-20 to get in the trade. Well, if the market continues to move and make higher highs and higher lows, okay, we hit our 382 target, bang, okay? But if it continues to move up, what is it gonna do? It's gonna take out the A, right? See that A?
Yep.
So now it's like, wow, okay. Now, if price is moving up off that level, guess what it's doing on the daily? It is moving up.
Mhm.
So, okay. So what'll happen is eventually, even though our A got taken out, and this is why we say it's important to do top-down analysis. So even though our A gets taken out, guess what happens now? I'm right back in alignment with my daily. See what I mean? So now my fibs are back in alignment. What happened here was it's just a deeper correction. The market retraced 61.8% off the daily, which took out my smaller waves to the downside. But when that price reverses, it's going to do the same thing. Okay. And now I'm back in alignment. See, that's just how the market goes.
Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome. So that's why. So we just look for additional confluence at that support with that 80-20 because the A got taken out. So we just look at it. So, yep, that's that. That's that. So that's just, and then it'll just catch and continue its uptrend. So we'll see. That's where we are on this PLRT. And let's continue to watch the overall stock market sentiment. See if we go back risk on and we make a run to the upside on this pair. Any questions about anything that we covered this morning? All right. Well, hey, it's been a great session. Always like spending time with everybody. Hey, remember this week, no Asian session. We are only doing New York session. So anything that I come across, I'll make sure we get that posted in the Discord. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Benny.
You're welcome.